it's like 12:31. We all doing, I don't like that I can't see everybody else in there. Mm-hmm. All right, you guys, hello. All right, you need to open up the chat too. Okay, welcome to the Sanity Now webinar. Thank you very much for being here. It's kind of weird not seeing you guys, so I have to admit this is different because I'm used to seeing everyone who's there. But if you're coming on or if you're on Facebook, which we'll get to, let's get through this. So we're going to be doing 3 steps to keeping your together. All right, here. And so I want to first say thank you for coming here and congratulations, because, well, I want to honor and celebrate you because you also made a powerful choice to be here. And I thank you for that. Tells me that you were willing to take the time also for you. Thank you for taking the time for me, but for you to hopefully learn some stuff. Look, you're willing to look at things differently, to try something different. And it also shows me that you are looking for something new. And so hopefully I got everything there. And all right, so first things first, I need to ask a favor. If any of you are able to, Ruben, just to see if in Facebook, this is going in, he's going to drop a link in there to see if you can get in there. I'm just trying to test it out to make sure for live streaming that it's actually happening. And so if you can just put a hello or a Sanity Now in there. Did you put it in there? All right. And send, there it is. If you can, that's great. Okay. Facebook. All right. So let's just do a disclaimer at the end of the presentation. I will offer a link to book a discovery call if you have any more questions or interested working. There's no pressure, there's no BS, and there's no strings attached. Really, we're here to, my purpose is to give you value in our time together. So let's be here now, okay? And have a good time and learn from each other too. Okay, let's see. Dun, dun. Who is this webinar for? Okay, did make it in mind when I began. I made it in mind with parents and caretakers who are feeling like any of the following. So see if this is you, if you recognize yourself, have been here. Either he's crying or I am. I know that's been the case for me a little bit more often than I'd like to admit. There's also, you know, that time when you're just like totally about to lose it all up in here, right? Holding it together. And then of course I've stopped buying wine in a box because, well, I can't tell if I'm just drinking one long glass of wine. And then there's, I really hope when you're staying up at night and you're just hoping that you're not effing up the kids. So, and of course, you know, talking with other parents, they're all say the same thing about that. It's just really hard being a parent. So I'm curious, how many parents do we have out there? If you in the chat, if you're a parent, or if you're a caretaker too, because you know what, all these things are for people. There's so many people right now taking care of their parents, taking care of another family member who maybe had a surgery or who's recovering from something as a chronic illness, you know. So if, you know, that is you, then I want to know who's out there and who's doing what. And then if you feel like I missed anything here of these feelings as a parent or a caretaker, I'd be interested to know. Okay, let's see. No response, we'll keep moving on. All right. Who else is this webinar for? So anyone who's feeling like any or all of the following, okay, especially with the pandemic, you know, the other C word, you know what sucks? everything. So we do have a caretaker out there. Okay. Yeah. What sucks, everything. There is that feeling right now, again, and I hear about a lot of people talking about just feeling like it's constant water works. I know I have to admit I have cried a lot more often than I'd like to admit. It's just been really tenuous times. And then there's just this feeling of, I just want it to stop, right? I just want it to stop, the whole COVID thing, the whole mask thing, and then the feeling of just, why must life be so hard, right? There comes that time when I'm just feeling like that. And then it goes even one extreme further. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I just can't take this shit no more, right? And then, of course, this happens, especially, I have to say, with elections and things like that. It just seems to be no intelligent life anywhere. And with that being said, anyone here relate? I'd like to know, is there any of these that is the most oftenly felt that you're going through right now? That is just like, yeah, that's me. And I guess I don't want to restrict you to only one if there's more of those. So let's see if anyone out there has. No, okay, B, it's okay, I'm fine. Okay, yeah. And then any other like roles or occupations out there of people? Because I know there's essential workers, there's other, and you know what, as far as I'm concerned, teachers are essential workers. We have one, the last one, F is for me. Yes, yes. Judy, totally feeling that. Just kind of wondering how do we keep going on? Okay, so you're all in the right place. This is for you. Let's see. Now we're gonna go on. Sorry. Oops. All right, so we should probably talk about who is this webinar not for. So anyone who's got some hangups about their parenting skills, or you're gonna tell me like, oh, so now I'm a bad parent, no, you're not a bad parent. And believe me, I have no judgment about it, but and we can not like our kids a lot, but we still love them. But if you hate your kid, then you're probably not here for that. If this webinar also isn't for you, if it's just like need a break, I like that. Thanks, Joram. I don't, you don't think I know that. I'm just gonna say this. I'm not here like reinventing the wheel. So there may be some things you've already heard before, and I'm not taking it that you have not heard it before, but it may be presented in a different way, and then everything together. So just know that. And of course, I do have respect for you, but if you become entitled or think you're mommy dearest, then this probably isn't for you either. Okay. And this one, I like to, people come along and just like, well, I'm not going to change my mind because I don't have to, because I'm an American. Well, you know what, with rationale like that, I can't really argue. You are correct. And this is some horseshit, right? There's people who are gonna, that's woo-woo, or I don't like that. And you know what? There is that little button that just says leave. You can just go right out the back door. That's cool. And if you haven't, if you're one of those earmuff kind of people, I'm not going to be dropping gratuitous F-bombs, but as you can see, there is a little bit of profanity. We're going to keep it PG-13 and under. So if any of those things are offensive to you, or you feel like you fit in that category, I'm going to just give you your time back because you are in the wrong place. And if you're not sure if you should be here or not, you could always ask. And if it just becomes apparent, again, you can just leave, and no harm, no foul. Thank you. All right, so let's get on with it. How's this webinar different? Well, first of all, I'm giving it, and I've never given a webinar ever before, so that makes it different right there. So, and so this is presented by just an authentic human being, okay, with no qualms of speaking truth and breaking it down for you in digestible bites to make some shift happen, show you a different way to deal with daily challenges, wake you up to the fact that nothing is happening to you, and warn you not to believe everything you think, okay? With that being said, I also need to let you know the following. I'm not a certified life coach, okay? I am not a licensed therapist or a counselor. I'm also not a guru, I'm not a cult leader or a cult follower. Okay, nothing I teach is actually mine. So it's a conglomeration of a lot of people, and I'll cite whose it is if I remember. And a lot of times the things I remember are being said by a lot of people. So it's not like I'm saying something completely, how would you say? I'm not saying something completely new, okay? And it's been cited quite a few times. So it is a fusion of, I call it self-development, mindset, mindfulness, spiritual teachings, universal law, quantum physics, and the different therapies I've learned and practiced and still use to this day, whether it's my therapies or the ones we've had with our kiddo. So just brief introduction of myself and my family, because that's another thing is I am part of blended families growing up and now who I am today too. So that's me, born in Queens, New York, to two, first generation Puerto Rican New Yorkers, and married right out of high school. And I don't know if you can see the plastic wrap on the couch. I chose that just for that because it just reminds me of all of those grandparents. Speaking of grandparents, those are my grandparents, my father's parents, and they then decided to move to San Jose, had us all move out. I was about 5 at the time, and we moved out to San Jose. And it would be shortly after that, things would happen, coming out to that I was getting molested by my father. And so that led to divorce. So my mom became a single mom. She had 2 kids. We became latchkey kids, growing up. That was 70s. So we were, key around the neck and a dime in our shoes. She remarried when I was 10, and this picture is more in high school, but then this is all of us together. We call it the second litter. It then would have 2 more sisters and a brother, and that's my abuela, my mom's mom, both of which are gone. My mother passed away just a few weeks before I turned 21, and so then I wouldn't really be around my younger brothers and sisters until 19 years later. Then we all came together, and this is in the backyard of the house that then a duplex that 4 of the 5 of us would live in, 2 of us upstairs, 2 downstairs. And my youngest brother still lives in LA. He's always been a SoCal kind of guy. So fortunately, we have all come back together, and I feel really grateful that we're in each other's lives and that we enjoy each other. So now we fast forward, I meet Ruben, who has 2 daughters from a previous marriage. I met him at the end of 2011. And that's Kamisha to the right, and Alicia is the one with the lays on, and she's just graduated high school. So, getting with Ruben was instant family. He then let me know too that he also had taken custody of his nephew, Jesse, who's right there. That's about how old he was when I came into the picture, literally. And we're in that picture at one point in time. All of us did live together in Brentwood, California. So it was instant overnight being a parent, a non-traditional parent in a very blended family. In 2015, Ruben, Jesse, and I would move to Arizona to have a house, kind of start anew, get him, a kind of childhood and have a neighborhood to grow up in, and for us to look for early retirement. And we've been celebrating, just to show you how blended our family is. This is Kamisha. She graduated from San Diego State. And to my right, the far right, is her biological mom, which is the mom of both of the girls. And then you see Ruben. And to the far other side is Mitchell, who is Kamisha's biological father, who remarried. And then that's Dottie, her mom, her number 2 mom that she grew up with. So we are definitely a rainbow blended family, and all of us sat at the table together for her graduation, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful that we could be like that. So I'm willing to bet, speaking of family, that many of you would agree that family, as much as we love them, they can test our patience, push our buttons, take us to extremes, and find ourselves repeating the same arguments and misunderstandings. Many times we are on autopilot, operating from old programming and patterns inherited through our family without even knowing it. For example, that, oh my God, did I just say that? I don't know. It's happened to me a couple of times where something came out of my mouth that was totally my mom. And I was like, I can't believe I just said that. It's just like there, and we believe that there's no other way to handle many situations, that's just how it is. And no matter how hard we try or wish it were different, especially because they won't change, right? And that's the feeling, they just won't change. So I just have to deal with it. And then we also end up losing our temper and taking out of those around us who have nothing to do with it, whether it was something at work or the traffic or just, you know, whatever it is, and we come home and we take it out on each other. So I'm willing to bet that some of these apply to you. I know I didn't number them or anything. I mean, it'd be A, B, C, and D. But if there is anything that you would say is more about that, that's what I hear most often from families that I've been dealing with and that are on my block. So if there's something there, and if you have anything to add to, I'm always helps me as well. So wouldn't you love to declare that you had some kind of peace of mind, that you had a sense of control, that you had a new and different approach to the same shit, different day, and that you could shift your relationships and environment into a positive place? So I don't know which ones of those are the most appealing to you. You know, peace of mind, sense of control, new approach. If you want to share, drop it in the chat box. And if there's anything else you would like that you're hoping to get from this, then I'm always want to know, because then that helps me know too what people are looking for and what they're wanting to get out of this. Okay, so what are we going to learn today? This is going right back to your sign up form. So I'm keeping with my promises. We're going to do 4 building blocks of a solid foundation and how those are vital to grounding yourself and keeping it together. So the hint is here is you are the foundation upon which you build. Another thing we're going to look at is the key to regaining control of your life. Learn the one simple truth that can help shift that and set you free from guilt and dread. And we're going to speak honestly. I'm warning you, this is something normally not said because nobody wants to hear it. So yeah. And then the biggest lie we end up believing, and it's something most of us were raised to believe as the truth, and it couldn't be farther from it. It keeps you stuck in guilt, shame, breeds resentment, and prevents you from making positive change for your loved ones. And no one talks about this because more than likely they bought into it too. So we're going to myth bust this one. And of course, that's to the end. Okay. But let's start with our foundation. And our foundation begins with the breath. I'm going to take one right now. Thank you. And again, I'm going to be quoting from a lot of the people who influenced me. Thich Nhat Hanh is one of those, a Vietnamese monk, and his mindfulness and meditation work has greatly influenced me. The breath is the bridge which connects life to consciousness. It unites your body to your thoughts, and whenever your mind becomes scattered, you use your breath as the means to take hold of your mind again. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Eckhart Tolle, Mr. Power of Now. Being aware of your breath forces you into the present moment. The key to all transformation, whenever you are conscious of the breath, you are absolutely present. So you may also notice that you can't think and be aware of your breathing. Okay, at the same time, it's conscious breathing helps stop your mind. And that's helping to stop the monkey mind, because if you're really concentrating on your breath, the in and out, and feeling it and following it, you can't keep on with all of the stinking thinking and that a-hole cut me off. So the breath is a powerful tool. It creates a bridge between the subconscious mind and conscious mind, and it connects your mind and body. So when you sit and breathe deeply, your physiology actually does change. Both your mind and your body will relax and become open. And that's completely scientifically proven. This isn't woo-woo stuff. It's just, it's basic physiology. So breathing helps clear your head of the thoughts, the emotions, and the ego, and allows you to get closer to your true self, your source, just the power of now in this moment. And by the way, breath work is a form of meditation. So I know there's a lot of people out there who really feel like, I can't meditate. I know I was one of those, but doing breath work is a form of meditation. So I know you can all breathe and follow your breath so you can meditate. Okay. So deep breathing, why and how. So physiologically speaking, again, all the benefits totally scientifically proven. And this is a good reason for you to do deep breathing in and of itself. Toxins, releases tension, brings clarity to your mind and body, does relieve pain and strengthens your immune system, right? Strengthens your lungs and brings, oxygenates your blood, cellular regeneration, and it does elevate your mood. All good reasons to do deep breathing. Okay. And again, if we're following the breath, then it's hard for us to continue with the agitated thoughts and the anger and everything that's going on. So these are 2 exercises I'm going to show you. It's breathing in for 3. So you inhale 2, 3, and then hold it 2, 3, and then out 2, 3. So even if you want to follow that with your finger, close your eyes and imagine it. And breathing, you can't keep thinking the other things. And if you want to do a breath hold before and after your inhalations, then that's a square. And so again, you can visualize that and follow those patterns, and it helps you get into the present moment. So again, your breaths are long and deep. They're not shallow and short, okay? Your belly breaths, deep belly breaths, putting your hand on your belly, making sure it's expanding all the way, not your chest. And hey, you know what? You can be smiling while you're doing your breaths because it releases dopamine and serotonin. You don't have to wait to be happy to smile. You can actually smile and start to feel the happy effects, okay? And there's nothing better than just smiling also, because you can, especially when you find yourself like at the laptop or something or in traffic, smile. Okay. So don't do what Sheldon's doing here, because that's just hyperventilating. All right. When to use it? Well, it's almost like when not to use it. So if you're calm, you don't need to deep breath, but you can, because feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. And our conscious breath really is our anchor. Okay. So the storm is going, it's that conscious breath that keeps you anchored, okay? That helps you feel centered, And so when can you use it? When you know you're about to enter, or you realize you are in the middle of drama. That's a great time. When you feel like you're being tested, great time to start deep breathing and smile too, right? You are getting triggered, or you are triggered, start deep breathing. You're feeling anxiety, worried, scared, uncertainty, all great times to start deep breathing, okay? There's a lot of that going on today too. I know I was feeling it just going shopping yesterday too, and then you might feel a little bit depressed and over emotional, or just emotional, and just overwhelmed. So nice deep breaths. There's those moments when you're just like, oh no, they didn't just say or do that, right? Time to deep breath, deep breaths. And then when you're ready to explode, okay, great time to deep breathe. And sometimes you've already exploded, like this guy here. I know I've felt like that many a time, and that is the perfect time to deep breathe. It's not too late. It's not too late. So we call that a 911 anger alert. We used to call it an anger plan here when that was something we instituted with Jesse, and it consists of, right now, just stop it. Stop it. So stop saying anything. You zip it. Okay. So stop it, zip it, and then deep breathe, deep breaths. Okay. So you're going to hear me saying this a lot, because this is the key to when all this stuff is going and whirling around. You need to stop it. You need to zip it, and deep breaths. Okay. So with awareness is present moment awareness, and that is helped by the breath. Okay. Also heard as be here now. Okay. So we're very good at preparing to live, but not very good at living. We know how to sacrifice for, diplomas, for hard work, car, house, so on. But we have so much difficulty remembering that we are alive in this present moment, and the only moment that there is. There really is no other moment. We get into the present moment living, getting in touch with your now, and it's at the heart of effective living, because when you think about it, there really is no other moment that you can live. Now is all there is, and the future is just another present moment to live when it arrives, and the past is gone. So many of us spend all this time in either past, getting pissed off about something, or worried about if it's going to happen in the future, and we're not in the present moment. So how to be at peace now? By making peace with the present moment. The present moment is the field on which the game of life happens, and it cannot happen anywhere else. So that's where you are. We are right here, right now. So curious, how many of you would say you are living in the now? And I guess would that be often, sometimes, or if you want to give yourself a percentage, maybe about 40% of the time, or if you want to give yourself a grade, an A, B, or C, if you want to drop that in chat, how often do you feel? Sometimes, Marianne. Hi, Marianne. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes. It's kind of sad when we think about how often we're not in the present moment. Okay, and awareness is always grade B. I like that. She gets a B. That's good. So body awareness, also known as a body scan. Okay. your emotions get stored in your body, okay? And they're also indicators of flight or fight response. So that happens automatically, and then it gets stored in our body. So a lot of us have had a lot of trauma during childhood and whatnot. All that gets stored in our body. So a lot of times our body is letting us know before we even feel or cognizant of the fact that we're getting triggered. Our body will actually give us indicators. So if you can listen to your body and feel where the tension is, it's actually giving you a clue. So by breathing in and tuning into your body, whether you close your eyes and just do a body scan starting from head to toe or toe to head, and just feeling and breathing into each of those parts of your body. And this is a great exercise to do at the start and end of your day when you're still in bed. So before you ever get out of bed, you can say, thank you for another morning, just be grateful that you were being breathed through the night, right? That your heart pumped your blood through the whole time, just waking up with gratitude for another day. And then doing a body scan just to feel where you're at. And if you have chronic pain, this is good too, just to monitor and see where you're at. And then, coming back to it at the end of the night when you lay down and you're doing the breath, like just saying thank you for the day you had. And then again, breathing into it, you get to monitor, hey, I didn't really have that pain before, and I am feeling some tension there. So it's a way for you to monitor and check in with your body, because so many times we just keep going. And then all of a sudden we have this massive, I don't know why this is hurting me, and etc. So body scan, it'll also happen. Your body will let you know in the moment if you feel yourself holding your breath, right? Your jaws are clenched. You're grinding your teeth. Somebody's talking to you and you're just grinding your teeth. And some of us do that in the night, headaches, your throat feels completely constricted, or you're unable to speak. Your shoulders get shrugged up. For me, that happens. They're all the way up to my ears, right? All that tension. Your eye is twitching or some other muscles twitching, right? Your chest feels tight and heavy. Your heart rate increases, your stomach feels knotted or upset, or it feels like, so I've had that where it just feels like punched in the stomach. You get some news. You feel completely nauseous. Your fists are all clenched, right? Your knees are locked, your toes grabbing the ground. These are all indicators that something's going on. Okay. It's letting you know. And that's when you need to do some deep breaths, because you might not, it's like, whoa, I'm feeling that. So breathing into those body parts. And some of you have areas in your body where you store your stress. So I don't know if anyone here is aware of where they store their stress. If so, you can drop that in. Like if it's like, yeah, for me, I'm always like neck and head tension, and then we'll eventually come that I get a headache. Neck and shoulders, me too, Jody. Grinding teeth, ooh, that's a bad one. I used to have a mouth guard. All right, awareness is also about awareness of ourself, of a self-check, a self-inquiry, asking ourselves what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're believing, okay? By Byron Katie. If I can teach you anything, is to identify the stressful thoughts that you're believing and to question them, okay? Because to get still enough so that you can hear your own answers. Oh, conscious breath. That's the only way you can get still enough to hear, okay? Stress is the gift that alerts you to your asleepness. So feelings like anger and sadness exist only to alert you to the fact that you're believing your own stories. Also letting you know that's what needs to be released. When it comes up, it's like, why is this happening again? Well, because it wants to get released, okay? So rather than being your thoughts and emotion, be the awareness behind them, okay? And by doing the conscious breath, that's a way to do that. You're deep breathing, and it's almost like if you can imagine yourself pulling yourself away from the situation at hand, and you're up above here, and you are like observing yourself, okay? So that you're not in the middle of it and you're watching it. So being aware of the fact that you are not a helpless victim of your own thoughts, okay? But rather the master of your mind. What do you need to let go of? Okay, take a deep breath, relax, and say to yourself, I am willing to let go. I release, I let go. I release all anger. I release all guilt, all sadness. I let go of old limitations. I let go, and I am at peace. I'm at peace with myself and peace with the process of life. I am safe, because that's really, that flight or fight, we would just want to feel safe. And it's us letting ourselves know, and the breath helps us know that, really grounds us into that, right? So that, you get curious, you get to ask yourself, do I recognize a thought that I need to release? You know, is there a thought, that a pattern that keeps coming up that I need to release? Okay. All right. So responsibility. That's our, because now we've done the breath, which is one foundation. We did awareness. That's the other leg of the foundation. Now it's responsibility. And when we talk responsibility, I'm not using the dictionary one, and you'll see why. When you read it in the dictionary, it says the state or job of being in charge of someone or something and making sure that what they do or what happens to them is right or satisfactory. That sounds like so much control. And that's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about responsibility. I'm talking about the ability to respond. And I looked up who actually is responsible for that. And it's quoted that it was Lucille Ball. So you got a lot of splaining to do, Lucy, you know? So that is, when I'm talking about responsibility, the ability to respond versus reacting to what's happening. Okay. And that's really what I'm talking about here, because when you react, you give away your power. Okay. When you react, you play into the drama, you add to the trauma, you dump your reactive waste, literally, you drop to their level. Okay. You want to say, oh, how could they say that? And you get upset at them, but you just drop to their level when you reacted. And you're reinforcing a negative behavior or habit on their part and on yours, because you're just making this like dance going around. And in the end, let's be truthful. You end up not too happy with yourself, and more than likely, possibly others are not liking you or your behavior either. You just don't feel good about yourself. And when I was looking for the definition of responsibility, I like the one they had for kids. It sounded so much better and totally doable. It's being responsible means doing the things you're expected, accept the consequences and results of your actions without blame or excuses. And that's huge, because we do have to take responsibility for our part. Okay. The goal isn't to get rid of all your negative thoughts and feelings, because that is hands down impossible. Okay. To change, it's to change the response to them, to realize, yeah, much better definition, isn't it, Yoram? It totally is. I was like, why don't we should say that to everybody instead. um, so really taking the responsibility for your part, like what part are you playing in it? When you step back from, you know, an argument or something that happened, exploded, it's like really looking and taking an inventory. What part did I play in it? Because it is a drama, right? So what part? Were you the tyrant, the dictator, the martyr, the victim, the drama queen, the mediator, peacekeeper? Like, what was your part? Like, be honest with yourself. What role were you playing? And what are you contributing? So like, even in way of energy, what are you contributing? Are you just coming up with excuses? Are you blaming other people? Are you being negative? Are you offering solutions? Are you listening? Are you being patient? Is anything you're doing adding positivity or praise to the situation? So really look, what are you contributing? And are you demonstrating control of yourself? And this isn't just like in the realm of being a parent and role modeling, but even with your friends, with your spouse, with your significant other, with coworkers. What are you demonstrating to them? Are you using positive coping skills? Are you self-regulating? You know, and sometimes you do have to leave the situation. Sometimes that is the best thing to do, but you have to do so respectfully. Just like turning a walk around and walking away from somebody when they're talking to you is rude. Okay. And that just, it's one more thing to have to, you know, ask forgiveness for. So it's like respectfully. And we've had that in our household. Sometimes it's way, way too charged and nobody can speak. So just even doing the timeout. And we know when we do the timeout, that means, you know, we all go to our safe place, we go and give ourselves a timeout, and then we come back only to talk to it when we are actually you know, okay. So what's the other part you can take responsibility is back to stop it, zip it, and deep breathe. Smile. Okay. Take responsibility by even just doing that is being responsible. That's a responsible act. Okay. So in taking responsibility for your part, here we go again, kind of harsh mellow. As long as you think that the cause of your problems out there, as long as you think that anyone or anything is responsible for your suffering, the situation is hopeless. And it means that you're forever in the role of victim and that you're suffering in paradise. And I hate that word victim, but I've fallen into that category a lot of times, especially once you say, why is this happening to me? That right then and there, you just admitted you're playing victim. And we really have to take 100% responsibility for our thoughts. You know, what are, again, the self-inquiry? What am I thinking? What am I telling myself about me, about the situation? What are my feelings? You know, where am I feeling it? That's a good time to do a body scan. You know, where are you feeling it in your body? Breathing into that body to help that part like calm down, and your behaviors and actions, really asking yourself, what am I saying and what am I doing? What is your body language? You can say, well, I was totally quiet, I didn't say anything, but your body language, your tone, all right? Because the results are the total sum of all of the above, okay? And you are 100% responsible for it. And it's, you know, it takes a big person to say, I'm totally responsible for this. And we learned this in our coaching behavior therapy with Jesse, and I love it. And we used it for years. It's the think before you speak. But I'm going to tell you right now, you can't think before you speak if you don't breathe. So the conscious breath totally comes into play here. And think stands for, before you speak, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? Hmm. Lot to think about there, right? You're like, oh, am I really supposed to think about all these things in the moment? But you know what? If you summarize that, it's all, is it positive? Is it worth saying? Is it really necessary? You know, because there's so many times we don't need to say something. You know, we would have this at home a lot. You know, Ruben and I, and with, you know, Jesse or a kiddo, you know, sometimes it was, Ruben was completely right, 100% right. And he was like trying to get him to say it. And I'd go, but babe, you know, you are right. But you know, what are you going to do? Like, would you rather be known as being right or as being kind or being understanding or being helpful? Because nobody is ever like really about, oh, that guy, he's just always so right. Like, you know, I shared something I thought and he like let me know I was wrong because he's so right, you know, versus, you know, he's so kind. He listens to me and tells me, you know, or just gives me something inspiring to say. So it's like asking yourself, is that really necessary? Because so many times we don't need to add anything else to it. So radical responsibility, okay, is what we're talking about. This guy, Fleet Mall, I was like, whoa, because I wanted to find out. I've heard radical responsibility used a lot of times in a couple of things I've done. And this guy here wrote a book on it, and he was like 35 years old, got caught for trafficking drugs, and then was confined for 25 years in a penitentiary. Knew he wasn't going to see his kid. Wrote this whole book on it and about his experience in jail, and had said it's a voluntary embracing 100% responsibility and ownership for each and every circumstance we face in our life, day in and day out. I really like to read his book because that's got to be, and it's the moment you accept responsibility for everything in your life is the moment that you gain the power to change anything in your life, okay? Because it is us. It's us. And when someone makes a mistake, that's their responsibility to correct it. But it's your responsibility to handle how you feel about it, how you're going to respond to it versus react, right? And every time you're tempted to react in the same old way, you need to ask yourself if you're going to, you know, remain that prisoner of the past, or you can become the pioneer of the future. And that brings us to, it's, you know, radical responsibility is, there are no excuses. There's no blaming anyone or anything, and no one made you do it. You know, you have to really own it up. Okay. Own your poop and clean it up. So then that brings us, now we've covered the third is responsibility. And after that, then we have a choice to make. And we always have a choice. Sometimes it doesn't feel like we have a choice in the matter. And today's times really makes us feel that way a lot of times too. We don't have a choice. But honestly, you have to take the time to accept responsibility, because your life is exactly that. It's your life and it is created by you. You are constantly making choices, constantly creating new experiences. And although we can be affected by circumstances which seem to be completely out of our control, sound familiar? Essentially, we decide the direction in which we walk. Okay, that's up to us. And inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. Back to that conscious breath, right? That's what's going on. Yes, I can feel what I'm feeling, but do you want to stay there? You have a choice, okay? And you can make that choice. I choose to live by choice, not by chance. To be motivated, not manipulated. To be useful, not used. To make changes, not excuses. To excel, not to compete. I choose self-esteem, not self-pity. And I choose to listen to my inner voice, not to the random opinions of others. So I choose to do the things that you won't, so I can continue to do the things you can't. So I really love it. That's Wisdom Warrior, if you can't read that at the bottom. So It's, you can choose what you're having and not having, right? You can choose peace and happiness just because you can. You don't have to wait for the outside world to be so that you can decide, oh, that's what I need to be happy and peaceful. It comes from within. I decide, I choose to be happy and peaceful. And I can always make a new choice. I can make a different choice. And I get to choose what, you know, you get to choose what you want to be, okay? How you want to feel and who you want to be. We make it so many times dependent on the things that are going on around us, and it's really our choice. So the other great thing is you can always choose again. So maybe that didn't work out for you. Maybe you didn't like that. Guess what? You get to choose again. So let's decide to make a conscious choice, okay? With everything that's happened to you, you can either feel sorry for yourself or treat what has happened as a gift. Everything is either an opportunity to grow or an obstacle to keep you from growing. So you get to choose, okay, how you want to look at it. And you also get to choose how you feel. I choose to feel good about myself each day. Every morning, I remind myself that I can make the choice to feel good. That is a new habit for me to cultivate, okay? And if you can't think of a new choice, I love these two mantras. They're from A Course in Miracles, and I've used them a lot when you just don't see another choice. You can actually tell yourself, I am determined to see things differently. I'm, I, above all else, I want to see things differently. Okay. And you can do that while you're breathing again. And if all else fails, you also have this choice we've talked about, right? Stop it. Remember the next one. Zip it. And deep breaths. That's also a choice. That's also a choice. And don't forget you can smile. And if those things aren't working and things are still hitting the fan, then you could always give everybody a timeout. So that works too. And everyone can go take care of themselves how they need to. So you can come back and have a cool, calm discussion about it. So that's it. That's your foundation. It is all you. It's all you. So what we covered is what I call the ARC method. Okay. And that is the awareness, the responsibility, choice, and conscious breathing. Okay. So again, awareness is that you cannot change what you're not aware of. All right. Responsibility is really owning your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and results. Okay. It's radical responsibility. All right. Choice that you do always have a choice. So you can make a conscious choice versus a subconscious choice, or pre programmed reaction, right? We're making a choice. And conscious breathing, because that is where the present moment is. And that's where your power lies, is in that present moment. With that breath, being connected to source and knowing that it all comes from that moment, because that's all it is. And just letting yourself know it's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Okay. And this is the disclaimer to this. This is not a one and done deal. Okay. You got to make it a daily habit and practice. And it does get easier and it does feel better the more often you do it, but you got to do it. And you always have an opportunity. Believe me, I use this all the time. It's not just parenting. It can be just even working on a project. It could be shopping at the store. All these things come up. We always have this opportunity to really look at ourselves and go through this process too. It's to make ourselves actually really feel better and feel in control, right? Oh, speaking of control, so now we're going to talk about that. Like, what is that one secret for getting control? First is recognizing what we think being in control looks like. Okay, so let's see if you fit into any of these categories. All right, of yeah, I'm fine. It's just that life is pointless and nothing matters, and I'm always tired. But I'm fine, so I'm in control, right? Because I'm not reacting and I look fine. And then there's this one. I've been here a lot of times. Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm cool. And then explode, right? And this, everything's going on around you. Yes, I've got everything under control here and everything's on fire. It's falling apart. People are arguing around you. Yeah, but I'm cool and calm and collected. And this, just we're going to do the mantra control, control, control. Doesn't really actually mean we are in control. And then, no, I'm not losing anything here. I'm, us white knuckling it that we're still in control of the situation. And so here's a nice little post-it note. It's incredible. Change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. Okay. There's not much we have control over, and we're going to talk about that. So let's find it. Does anybody have this idea of being controlled? Do they recognize themselves in any of these that you let yourself, because for me, it'd probably be B, I would say, is mine. Anybody else with any of the ends? Let's see in the chat. C, who said C? Emily H. Oh, I'm looking. I can see that, Emily. Very much. Awesome. All right. All right, so here we go with the one simple truth about regaining control of your life, because I promised you I would tell you this, okay? And again, I'm going to give you the warning. No one wants to hear this. No one wants to hear this. Ready, Amy? No one is ready? Here we go. You can't handle the truth. No, I'm sorry. I had to put that in there because it was just like a kind of bump set. No. All right, we're really this is the truth. You have no control over anyone or anything. It seems like a no-brainer and you've heard it before, but you really don't. You don't have any control over anyone or anything. Nothing. You only have control over you, meaning your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your choices, your attitude, your attention. What attention do you give things, right? And your mind. But do you actually have control over these things? And that's where you need to concentrate. You wanting to be in control of anything is these things. These are the things that we have control over. If you want to exercise being a control freak, then be a control freak over your own self. Really, that's the only thing we can do, and be good at it, because self-mastery is one of the hardest things to do ever, right? So if anyone wants to share, what does that bring up for you? Do you hear an objection when that gets said? Like, do you feel it in your body? Like, that's BS, or that doesn't really sound appealing to me, because it doesn't sound nice. I know that, but you don't have control over anyone or anything. It's all calm in the Trump box. Okay. I agree with that. Okay. I agree with that. All right. So let's reframe that. It is easier said than done. It is, but it is the reality. So when you really realize, no, I don't have control over that. It's just me. It's me. That's the only thing. So I'm going to concentrate on controlling me. So let's see if we can feel good about something, reframing it. Let's look at it a different way. Here's a nice mantra. I release all control to the universe. I am at peace with myself and with life. Okay. That's a bit of surrender. Okay. Not everybody's cool with that, because that is releasing control to the universe. All right. But the fact also is you can't control everything that happens to you. You can only control the way you respond. We've talked about that, to what happens. So in your response is your power. Okay. And if you really want real control, then drop the illusion of control. Let life have you, because it has you anyway. Okay. And you're just telling yourself a story of how it doesn't. And again, that's where I said, don't believe everything that you think, because the truth is you only have control over yourself and all those things. So concentrate controlling that list of things. Okay. And you'll feel better about yourself, and people around you will feel better. So do you feel better hearing that? Are you able to hear that as truth? Does that sound a little bit more approachable? Let's see. I don't see anything in the chat box, but I'm going to give you these things later too, so that you can look at them. All right. Last thing that I said I'd tell you was the biggest lie we end up believing. Okay. Let's see if you can figure this one out. Sacrifices are often made for the greater good. To get where I'm going with this, we all have to make sacrifices, dear. All right, homie. So when we're talking about our families, most likely, of our family in general, but again, parents with kids, right? And then we end up asking ourselves, oh my gosh, how could we have all sacrificed so much and none of us has anything to show for it? Because we sacrifice ourselves over and over for the kids, for the family, for my parents, for this, for that, right? And I love this one. Maybe our happiness depends too much on our dumb kids, right? Because we're sacrificing this other stuff for everybody else so that they could be happy, so we can get happiness for ourselves. And so that's the biggest lie I just want to say, and that's been brought to my attention in doing, becoming this parent overnight thing and going through this journey. I've had to be reminded, even by counselors and stuff, you got to take care of you. Okay. It's actually love yourself first. The biggest lie is we're told we're supposed to sacrifice everything for the ones we love. And it's BS. It's actually, we're supposed to love ourselves first. Okay, because then we get upset and resentful that they're not loving us or appreciating us or this, right? You got to do that for yourself first. You've heard that expression, I'm sure, about the oxygen masks coming down, right? You have to put it on first. You have no oxygen, you're not going to be able to do anything for anyone else. So you need to fill your cup. And actually, you need to fill it till it's like overflowed and it's in the saucer. Because if you're going to keep giving it away, then you have nothing left for yourself at the end of the day. And that builds resentment. So I'm going to say, what is the other way to look at this? Self-love is a must. Self-care is a must. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm working on this too. Believe me, I'm not like the poster child of it, but it is a must. And you've got to put yourself first. You have to love yourself first if anything's really going to change in your life. So now there's some fun reframes here for self-love. There ain't no shame in that self-love game. Okay. We could all say that. There ain't no shame in that self-love game. Okay. Yep. Can't take an empty cup. True. I like this mantra too. I'm going to take time for me. Okay. Say it together. I'm going to take time for me. Okay. And then this one, treat yourself. I love this one because this is what I love to do. And Ruben will attest to it. The candles, the hot tub, put in the tub and bubbles and such, and just soak, soak, soak. So we need to focus on critical self-care. Okay. It does need to be focused because when you keep giving it away, you know what? Turn around and give it right back to yourself. You're giving all that love away. Take it right back. Give yourself some love first. Okay. Before you start over there. And, I complete myself. Instead of us keep looking for somebody outside of us to complete us, it's really our responsibility. It's our responsibility to love ourselves and give ourselves the things we need instead of getting upset at the people around us to not understand or read our minds or give us it's really our responsibility to do it first. So on the self-love, we're going to give some good advice and keeping it real. Miss Jennifer Hudson, gaining control over your health and well-being is one of those times in your life that you get to be completely selfish and not feel bad about it. So if you want to meet your goals, you have to make it about you. You have to make it work for you and you alone. And anything less is set up for failure. All right. If you need some advice from the former First Lady, Michelle Obama is going to tell you, if you do not take control over your time in your life, other people will gobble it up. All you moms know that out there, right? Because if you don't prioritize yourself, you constantly start falling lower and lower on your list. Okay. You just do. And if you need a permission slip from the Dalai Lama, here you go. If you feel burnt out setting in, then if you feel demoralized and exhausted, it is best for the sake of everyone to withdraw and restore yourself. You need to fill your cup. You need to love yourself and give yourself your self-care. So is there anyone out there who actually schedules self-care for themselves or me time? Is there anyone out there who actually does that? Looks like a no. I know it's difficult. I got a lot of things to do. I need to do more of it. Yeah, we all need to do more of it. I mean, it really is a priority for us to make ourselves a priority. So we really need to make ourselves a priority. Okay, so just recap of the 3 steps that we covered. Okay, we did the ARC method, which was your foundation. Okay, the awareness, responsibility, choice, and conscious breathing. So that's your foundation. We talked about control. You can't control anyone or anything. Self-control is a strength and calmness is mastery. Okay, you have to get to a point where your mood isn't ruined by someone else's actions. The challenge is to control the way you respond to what's happening in the present moment, because that's where your real power lies. All right. And last but not least, we talked about the self-love. If you don't love yourself, nobody will. Not only that, you won't be good at loving anyone else. And loving starts with the self. All right. So that's all, folks. And I'm going to ask you guys, if those who are stayed, thank you, stay in the end. I do have a little something I'm going to give you. Ruby's going to drop it in the chat box, a little bonus in the bonus thing. But I would like to know what you did learn. Did you feel like you got at least one tool? Because I did promise that, wanting to get one tool to add to your toolkit. And if you got more than that, even great. I'd like to know which ones were they do you think that you're going to use? Oh, that's well, you can put that one to the bonus, baby. So is anyone in the chat, did you get, of these things, which would you say were, I don't know, something that you learned? Okay, what is it? Yeah, stop it and zip it. Yes, it's so, and you know what, Marianne, it's great for the kids because you just do it. It's like, you don't even have to say, it's like, you know, with the hand, stop, zip it. Because that would happen with our kiddo, Jesse. I don't want to be told, because once you gave him instruction, it would like set up this whole thing. So it was the stop. And I would do it in front of him and I'd smile too. So he's doing something in front of me where I'm totally getting charged. I would just start doing that and he would know. And guess what? It diffuses the other person who's like going ballistic. When you stand there in calmness, smiling and deep breathing, it really throws them off. They can't continue. Complete responsibility. Yeah, radical responsibility. Yeah, 100% responsibility. Being in the present moment. Yeah, present moment awareness and how much we're not in it. And that is the conscious breath, Judy. So that's what helps you get there, is the breath, because that's how I have the ability to respond to whatever's happening. I don't have control, but I can respond. Yes. It is how you respond, and it's making that choice. And again, that's why I talk about the conscious breath, because you can't do any of those steps if you just keep reeling in your head and the emotions that are going on and the things that you want to say and what you want to bring up about, well, you know, there was this, you're going to the past. Well, next time you're going to the future. You're not in the moment. And so, was anything heard in a new way? Did you get a different or new perspective on something you've whole? Because I know everything I talked about is not anything really new. You know, it's again, it's things that are being presented by other people that I've heard over the years, but just kind of brought into this. Did anyone hear something in a new way where they're just, oh, you know, I kind of get that now, or that has a new meaning for me? Okay, don't say anything. All right, so next question would be, how like kids' responsibility? Yeah, I know that one was so good. I should put that one somewhere. I should make a post on it because it's such a better one. Um, so how likely are all of you to start using the deep breathing, if you don't already, and if you do, to use it more often? I'd like to know if anybody thinks that they're going to start using this, incorporating the deep breaths, because it does help you even with pain management and anxiety and stuff. I saw somebody said that they about the stop it, zip it, and deep breaths is something great to use for yourself. Yeah, do it regularly as well, Judy. Yeah, but this is, you can use it anywhere and at any time. Yeah, radical response, me too. It is, it's all us. But the stop it, zip it, and deep breaths, you can use all the time. I mean, you're stuck in traffic, somebody, you know, cuts you off. Um, you know, it's great. It's great and awesome. And then the ARC method, I don't know, did that make sense to you? That's that awareness, responsibility, choice, and breathing. Do you feel that's something you can use, that it's, I guess, relatable, makes sense to you? There are never enough reminders to breathe. Yeah. I love dark. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah. It's just something I've found myself with all the teachings I've come across and everything I've been doing. It always speaks to those points about the awareness, about taking responsibility and making a new choice. And that's how I kind of came up with that. It was as a prism and just, you know, giving you a rainbow, which is hope. So if there's anything else you'd like to add or suggest, you know, I am wholeheartedly, because yes, we can fix it. We can get better all the time. So any of your thoughts or stuff is welcome. And I'm going to say thank you to you. Did you put the bonus in there, baby? Okay. You can put it in there again, because that was the last one you did. You could probably just add it again. So thank you so much. I'm going to put, there's a link in there. And for those of you, you know, you signed up, I'll put it in your email too. But that's a Google Doc of all those quotes, because when I've been teaching this with ladies, they've been, yeah, I'd like those, you know, those quotes. And I'd like to know, there's a reference sheet, a resource sheet there of all the people that I did, what's it called? Quote, and where I've gotten this stuff. I'm going to put a stop share here so I can see you all. You know, that of those places you can find more on those teachings and on what they offer, because there's great stuff there. And again, I can't take any credit for it at all. It's just everything I've used and sort of like cooking. I'd say I love to cook. I can't really describe what my cooking is, but it's a conglomeration of lots of different things. And that is what this method is too. So if anyone wants to unmute and say thank you or hello or whatever, thank you. I feel really weird just talking to you guys all the time because this is not the usual format that I'm in. And then I couldn't even see you. But yeah, totally happy to hear anything. Thank you, Emily. Good to see you.
Tracy, this was a great session.
Yeah, it was. Judy, thank you too. I mean, people who are here definitely have shaped who I am and what I'm doing today. And Emily, you know, Psy, Judy's the one who gave me my Psy basics. So
Mhm.
yeah, and Emily I met at WLS. So
Oh,
so
awesome.
just
Okay, great.
yeah.
Very
So
nice.
I thank you guys
Beautiful
so
job.
very much for just listening, and hopefully well, it sounds like you got something out of it, but that these are just things for us to really bring to our awareness, because I really feel if everybody did a little bit more of this, if we picked up, we don't have control over other people, but if we would all concentrate on ourselves and clean up our mess, then it would just be a lot nicer. We'd be nicer to be around, and we would just emit that to everyone and everything that we're in. And and by doing so, you shift other people, and you make that shift happen. And people learn by you, whether you realize it or not. You're always a role model for somebody around you. So, hey, Patty, thank you for the session this morning.
Thank you. This was great, Tracy.
Thank you. Yeah, it was just we talk about so many things. Patty leads a spirit group. If any of you get on her mail list, you can find her through my Facebook because I did an interview with her, and she's got her links up there. And she just started a like a meditation group in the morning to build your little practice of communing with spirit. And so it's kind of been a group community effort. And tomorrow's day 21 of 21. And it's just, I can't believe
Yes,
it's
thank
already here. Yeah. Alan. Well,
Thank you for
thank
the
you
great
again.
reminders. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Yoram. And you've helped as well with bringing lots of things to light. Yoram, as well as a coach, and he's a great guy. Marianne there has been a community of mine, an entrepreneur community. And Miss Sarah is another, she's another Psi, my Psi 7. So that's cool. I got my Psi. So yeah, thank you so very much. And um, very, very grateful for your presence and your presence in my life, because you guys all influence me in great ways. And I just want to say thank you and give that back to you. And if you think anyone can benefit from this, definitely pass it on. And I'll just continue doing what I'm doing. And we could pass on the good word and just be those beacons of light. So thank you for your time. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend, of your never before lived weekend, and stay happy, healthy, positive. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you, Sarah. Yoram. All right, I'm gonna stop the live. Woo. Stop recording. Stop live.